I've gotten to watch him train a little bit in Hermosa Beach, and the word that comes to mind when I watch him play is very springy. It's like elastic, right? He's got good arms, really big, aggressive, dynamic arm swing, and for his size, makes him pretty dangerous.
Yeah. Nice bit of discipline there from Field at the net. Frank staying home on the inside set and getting the swat. Coventry, Rhode Island. Not a hotbed of beach volleyball, you wouldn't think. Certainly not to the extent of Newport Beach, California.
Right there next to Theo Brunner's hometown in Connecticut.
Yeah.
Net violation that time against Field's block, and Ratledge, Caldwell steal that point.
Yeah, these matches are always interesting when you kind of don't have a lot of information on your opponent, as is the case here for Caldwell and Ratledge. You really have to focus on what's going on your own side of the net, right? Can you just execute your game plan no matter what the other side's doing?
So Field and Shavit seeded 32nd. They were the 47th seeded team in yesterday's qualifier. So they played 3 matches yesterday, winning all of them in that single elimination bracket to advance to the main draw. Their match to get in, they upset the 2 seed of Mark Burek and Brandon Joyner, going 3 straight deuce games, winning that 3rd one 19-17 in overtime.
Wow. Yeah, a little bit of a dream run there. And they'd love for it to continue here on a Friday.
You know, Tal Shavit's no stranger to the main draw. He's played in quite a few of them. Came through the qualifier a couple of times with David Lee several years back, right when David Lee kind of hung it up from the indoor team with you and made the transition out to the beach. Tal Shavit a little bit undersized, 5'9", left-handed, so, you know, defender. Resident of Austin, Texas.
Just missing there, Cody.
See now, Rich, I want to get your opinion on that play right there.
Okay.
A pretty good aggressive set from Ed Ratledge up to the net. Cody takes a little bit off, tries to place it to the corner instead of going up and ripping it. Misses it. What do you think he should have done better on that play?
Yeah, I like the attempt there. My only complaint, perhaps, you know, I mean, other than missing it, is trying to be too precise, right? Like, you have to kind of dial down the risk factor when you're in compromising, you know, the more compromising situation you're in. You know, that ball's coming over your shoulder. I agree with you, as a very good set, but not one that you can really unload on to your full capacity, right? So, like the great Mike Dodd, multiple-time Manhattan Beach Open champion, talks about maintaining the advantage. So can I hit a shot that, you know, I'm very rarely going to kill that ball, but can I maintain the advantage for my team on a play like that? So that's, I mean, that's it. I think that's the only difference.
The blocker had dropped as well, and I kind of would have liked to have seen him attack the middle of the court. You know, that old saying, in a fiddle, hit middle. Right? And you saw one of your old athletes, Jay Gibb, who's retired now, hit that shot about 1.5 billion times.
Right.
And effective almost just as many times. Right?
Yeah, I think he receives residuals every time somebody gets a kill up the middle.
He certainly should.
Yeah, another kind of sub point on your question, Matt, is I hate to see mistakes. Obviously, nobody's trying to make mistakes out here, but there's certain circumstances where, you know, if I get a perfect pass, perfect set, and I end up getting blocked or making a hitting error, we kind of deal with that because the circumstances are all conspiring in my favor. But if I get a difficult situation, transition, I don't want to make mistakes there, because those opportunities are oftentimes very few and far between, and I have to try and capitalize on them as much as I can, right?
Yeah, certainly, and capitalizing is exactly what Ed Ratledge just did on that play. He has a foot advantage in size over Tal Shavit, gets the deflection on the block, and then turns it for that point. So it's a key moment to talk about. The wind has kind of picked up a little bit, and Tal Shavit just hit that ball hard into the wind, right? The trajectory of his attack, not quite probably what Cody Caldwell's used to seeing, right, but well-placed and successful hit there from Tal Shavit into the corner. Yeah,
the thing I like so far in the game of Field and Shavit is there's a lot of aggression, right? They're not trying to be too cute. They're not trying to be soft and kind of like, I don't know, deceive their way over the finish line, so to speak. They're going out there, they're attacking hard, they're jumping hard, and they're right there in this first set.
Yeah, there you see some stats from Cody Caldwell and Ed Ratledge using those Connexion data sensors attached to their shorts. Highest jump, Cody Caldwell, 25.4 inches. That's nearly as high as your indoor jump, Rich, back in the day.
That exceeds my indoor jump, I'm pretty sure, which is why I was relegated to the back row for the entirety of my career.
And on the other side of that coin is Ed Ratledge at 18 inches, although his arms make up that gap. He doesn't have to jump 25 inches like his partner.
I think 18 inches also the length of his thumb to the end of his middle finger.
Could be very well the truth right there from Rich Lamborn.
And so Field and Shavit kind of right there in this first set. Can they find a way to sneak out a point or two here? Their side-out game has been pretty consistent. But really the challenge for Cody and Ed is to not let off the throttle, right? Like they've got to stay with the service pressure. They've got to stay on their game and kind of not take any of those scoring opportunities like we talked about for granted.
Yeah, take advantage of it as we see a deep serve going over to Caldwell there. And that's what Ed Ratledge does so well, especially in transition. Gets a great set from his partner and then just reaches so high and just kind of slaps it over the block and down.
Yeah, I love that Shavit and Field don't make them play the extra contact, right? Great dig there to keep that play alive. You know, it's tough to give your opponent too many opportunities, but the longer you can keep it off the sand, the greater your likelihood of scoring goes up.
Attempting the option that time from Frank Field. Like the idea is that pass was pretty tight, however the execution not quite there that time.
Yeah, you would think that's a part of their game plan though, right? So, I mean, you know, it always stings to make the direct mistake on that, but if it's part of what you do as a team, you got to keep doing what you do.
Another dig there for Caldwell. Can he turn it this time? And he gets it with a nice chop down the line at the retreating blocker. Ball is undiggable, and Shavit nearly got it, but a point for Ratledge and Caldwell.
Yeah, kind of midway through that play, we saw the opposite of what sparked your question earlier, right? We saw Cody not have a great set, just kept it in, but did so a little bit short, made Field kind of crash for that.
And now
gave his team the advantage.
Now we're going to get a glance at Ed Ratledge on defense. Gets one dig there, but it goes over. Another dig by Ed Ratledge. And he turns it down the line for a point. Ed Ratledge then points to the crowd for appreciation.
That's what good long wingspan will do for you. You just lay down and cover some court. Well done, Ed.
I think that might have been one of the very first times I've ever seen Ed Ratledge play defense, and we're going to get a replay here of it. One dig, but it goes over. Back for the second one, and then he turns it. And during that replay, Cody Caldwell staying at the net and getting a block point for his side.
Ratledge Caldwell rethinking their whole block and defense strategy at this point.
I mean, if you thought a 6'6" defender was tall, now you've got 6'9" Ed Ratledge in the backcourt. Back-to-back stuff downs there for Cody Caldwell.
It's interesting how just throwing in these little kind of unexpected wrinkles can work out for you from time to time.
Ed Ratledge getting a little too excited that time, getting that serve through the inline and out of bounds.
That is the rub in conversing with the DJ and the announcer mid-match, right? As you lose a little bit of focus.
So down by 6, Tal Shavit trying to find something now from the good side. He's going to jump serve into the wind. Probably over to Ed Ratledge as he's kind of on the bad side now with the wind at his back. So there's a foot fault on that jump serve. That's not allowed.
It was actually well seen. I mean, that was very slight, but well seen by our up ref.
But he comes right back to get the side out in an out-of-system attack, clips the inline for the point.
Yeah, he's just got really nice touch on the ball, doesn't he, Tal Shavit? Kind of got that lefty. I don't know, I feel like lefties are just always so extra artistic. Good touch on the ball, good control.
You just said lefties are a little bit more artistic.
Yeah.
Does that work for Ed Ratledge as well?
No, that's autistic. I think you misheard me. Teasing, of course.
Ed continuing to engage with someone in the stands.
Yes, any and everybody.
Net violation on the attack. Now point goes in favor of Ed Ratledge and Cody Caldwell, and that brings us to set point here, 20-12.
Yeah. Wheels came off the bus a little bit after the technical timeout for Field and Shavit. They played a great first half of this set, but Caldwell and Ratledge really doing everything right the second half of that set.
That over on 2 attempt doesn't clear the net, so 21-12 in favor of Ed Ratledge and Cody Caldwell. You're right. Things drastically changed when Ed Ratledge decided to play defense.
Yeah. Apparently it's imposing to see the big fellow back there.
So a quick glance at the stats there after one set. Entirely in favor of Caldwell and Ratledge, 21-12. Come back in just a few moments for set number 2 from Stadium Court here in Manhattan Beach.
At Corner Bakery, we're making your choice simple with choose 2 options every day. Choose 2 of your favorites and turn a simple lunch into a perfectly paired meal. And we're not talking about a few choose 2 options. Pair up any sandwich or panini, any cafe fresh salad or warm simmering soup, or any pan sauteed pasta. So many kitchen crafted options, so little time. Your perfect choose 2 combination is waiting at the Corner Bakery.
Dear mainland, aloha. My brother and I hear that most of you only disable your phones when you fly. You call it airplane mode. But maybe you don't have to get on a plane to get away, yeah? Allow my brother to demonstrate. You know what we call this? Kona mode. One life, right? Mahalo. Longboard Island Lager and Big Wave Golden Ale from Kona Brewing.
Those radio gym shorts that you have from college, they're done. Get them out of here. It's time to upgrade your short game with the one from Fabletics, man.
We love them. Your girlfriend will be stealing these. They're the best.
This fabric fixes another major issue, fit.
It's got this crazy stretch to it that looks so cute when I do my yoga or errands or like literally anything. They're the most comfortable, best feeling, luxe-tastic fabric that we have ever worn.
It's the choices we make that define us.
Tryon Trevor is coming off a tough, heartbreaking loss.
And ultimately, the enemy is within. Some people want it, some wish for it, but others make it happen.
Tryon Trevor is super lethal, bringing fire and passion to the court.
How will you take charge?
Another beautiful sunny Friday afternoon here in Manhattan Beach, California. Good crowd on hand for this men's contender bracket, round number 1. Frank Field and Tal Shavit advancing out of the qualifier, but losing set number 1 here to Cody Caldwell and Ed Ratledge. Matt Prosser alongside Rich Lamborn for this one, as we get back to action.
Yeah, it's do or die, isn't it, Matt? This is contenders bracket, so you lose and you go home.
Yeah, both of these teams playing earlier today. Field and Shavit losing to the 1 seed, Theo Brunner and Kame Schulk, in 2 sets, 21-14, 21-11. Meanwhile, Ratledge and Caldwell lost their opener in 2 sets as well to Tim Baumgren and Piotr Marciniak. 21-13, 21-17 earlier this morning. So obviously no one wants to go uno dos, 0-2 here in Manhattan Beach, and a convincing set number 1 win for Ratledge and Caldwell. Bit of an uphill battle, but they get to reset, so it's back to zeros. Actually 1-1 now. Actually make that 2-1 in favor of Tal Shavit and Frank Field after that side out.
Yeah, and consistency is what they'll be looking for, Shavit and Field, right? We saw them play a great first half of set number 1, but then it kind of stalled out a little bit, and I don't know, it was 10-2 running away for Caldwell and Ratledge. So can they be consistent start to finish here? They'll need to be if they hope to push this to a third and keep their hopes alive here in this tournament.
Yeah, well, Field and Shavit, they just really got to be aggressive. They got nothing to lose. They can take some risks, get a nice block like that one on Caldwell, try to put Caldwell and Ratledge on their heels a little bit, get them out of system and see what they can do, and just go out there and have fun, right? They got nothing to lose at this point.
Yeah, freewheel it a little bit. Play your game. That sometimes that, I don't know whether you're tricking yourself psychologically or otherwise, if you can just sort of release that pressure valve a little bit, you play some better volleyball.
You work so hard through the qualifier, you win 3 matches, very close matches. Actually, Shavit and Field went overtime in 2 matches yesterday in the qualifier to get here. And now you're playing on one of the most iconic stadiums in all of beach volleyball. Win to stay in, but you got an uphill battle here against Cody Caldwell and Ed Ratledge.
That is an interesting point. You kind of don't understand the emotional roller coaster that goes into this sport at times, right? I mean, such an emotional high getting those overtime wins, getting into the main draw, and then only hours later you're right back at it against the 1 seed in the whole tournament. I mean, it's a wild ride.
It's an extremely challenging physical task, but also psychologically and emotionally challenging as well. Rich, you make a great point there.
Looked like it even took its toll physically on their coach. I don't know what happened to him, but he's slinged up.
Now that's Ed Ratledge's coach.
Excuse me.
Wearing looks as if he has his arm in a sling after a possible dislocation or
sympathetic left-hander.
Clearly just hitting too many balls at Ed Ratledge on his defensive practices last week.
Right. That was a good look, yeah, at the physicality right there. I mean, just over the top.
Yeah, that was an impressive play. A little bit more of a tempo play out to the antenna. You heard Cody call for a shoot set. Not the fastest of shoot sets, but a little faster. And yeah, Cody Caldwell is a jumper, right? And he's long, places that ball nicely over the block and down.
And it doesn't have to be super fast, right? You're just looking for the movement so the blocker's not set up perfectly in front of you oftentimes, right?
And that time, Frank Field comes right back and hammers that ball through Ed Ratledge's block and off of his forehead, knocking off the bandana.
Get a 2-for-1 right there. You knock off the shades and the bandana. What do you think we got Shavit's body fat percentage at? I'm going 6 or less.
I was gonna, yeah, I agree with that, but I'm gonna cut it down even more. Probably 4.75.
4.75? That's
kinda
impressive.
Kind of like your GPA at BYU.
If you add up all 4 years.
I think you got him beat though. So. See, the real riddle for Shavit and Field is who are they going to serve, right? That time Shavit steps over to the left side of the court, hits the jump serve on Ed Ratledge, and then Field drops.
Yeah.
Like, that's just, you know, the strategy is going to be hard enough already for Shavit and Field, but that one just doesn't seem like it really adds up.
Yeah, you never know though. You know, I don't mind that play necessarily if it's kind of like a small piece in a larger chess game, which is to say, if they think they can get Ed to roll some of those balls to them, they can deal with him bouncing one or two here and there, right? Because you're kind of, I don't know. That's something I heard Johnny Hayden talk about a long time ago. Like any one given play, I mean, you know, people are going to side out here, right? So. Right. If you're giving up something to take it away later and kind of, you know, planting those seeds, so to speak, you can deal with a guy bouncing a ball if you know later on he's going to roll that shot to you when you pull late.
You know, playing the percentages.
Playing the percentages, just giving them a look and then giving them a different look from the exact same scenario a little bit later in a match. So we'll see if that's the case, or if it was just a one-off and maybe a bad choice to pull.
So while we were discussing body fat percentages and whatnots, we got a double contact called against Ed Ratledge from our first official there. And apparently Cody and Ed don't like that call, so getting some extra clarification. Here's a replay of that. You see the rotation of that ball after the set. So I'm okay with that call, Rich.
Yeah. Look at the physicality again, just up over the top.
Tal Shavit and Frank Field really have to be aggressive from the inline and just let it ride. They can't hold back because really the siding out of Cody Caldwell and Ed Ratledge is too consistent right now. You can't just lollipop a serve over. You got to get them out of system, get them on their heels, and see if you can kind of compromise their offense a little bit. Great play from Ed. And there's a swing in transition that we were talking about earlier. Good aggressive attack from Cody Caldwell.
Yeah, really nice timing on the block that time from Ed. You can see against a little bit smaller Shavit, he just kind of delayed, looking for the shot, got the good touch, put up a great set. This is kind of the better end to serve from if you're Ratledge and Caldwell, right? The south side.
Yeah, and again, that's exactly what they want. So Cody Caldwell serving into the wind, over cross court to Tal Shavit, who's on the bat side. His cross court attack goes long.
Yeah, it's kind of that double whammy because the wind's at Shavit's back, so it's taking his attacks longer than they would be ordinarily.
Yeah, that classic good side, bad side strategy. Serve the guy on the ocean side, but he comes right back, gets the touch off of Ed's block, and still clips the sideline for the point.
Yeah, you could see the difference that time, though, in the timing, right? Ed up a little early, big target for Shavit with his craftiness to slap it off.
And it's hard for Ed to be sneaky and get out of, you know, Tal Shavit's vision because he's so big, right? Ratledge shows off some control with the right hand that time. Quick glance at the hitting percentages from both teams. Clearly advantage to Caldwell. Ratledge 520 to 194 throughout this match.
Yeah, Shavit and Field have picked that up a little bit, though. I think they were in the single digits after the first set. So playing a nice second set here. This is kind of the area they have to be careful of, right? Because they were good in the first set up until this point and then kind of lost it running away.
Nice effort from Ed to keep the ball alive. Put a free ball over to Frank Field. And a nice high cut shot from the right side at that time.
The old Rhode Island Cutty Sark.
Showing that he's got some range. Not a lot of offensive opportunities for Frank Field. was only a matter of time before Ed Ratledge stepped up with that option attack. So at the technical timeout, it's Field and Shavit clinging to a 1-point advantage after losing the first set.
And we've got Ryan. Gentlemen, wave to the fans. They'll wave back. Fans, wave back. We've got Ryan. All right, so get your sacks, boys. Get ready to go. We've got your line boxes down here.
Yeah, if you're the coach of Caldwell and Ratledge, what's your insight here, you think, Matty?
I think they're doing a good job. They kind of let their foot off the gas a little bit on the offensive side, right? You saw Ed go with that option play that he's been doing his entire career, right? It's so difficult to stop. They've got to kind of get back on track offensively, be aggressive on their attacking, use that option, take care of the pass, right? They're not getting a lot of service pressure from the opponent, and so up that hitting percentage if they can a little bit and try to score a couple of real points to draw it even. They're playing a decent brand of volleyball right now, I think.
Yeah, I would agree with you. Just that aggression level, it's always tough to, especially if you kind of spank a team in one set, to stay on that throttle fully, right? But that is the challenge, and particularly from the south side, the good side, you got to go after that serve.
Yeah, and when you're on the bad side, which is the north side now, you have to be consistent with your serving, not give up any free points by missing your serves, right? Make the opponent earn their points when they're on the good side and not give them any freebies.
So then conversely, if you're Field and Shavit, just more of the same, freewheel it a little bit, you're going to the good side, get after it from the end line?
Yeah, I mean, they've responded nicely here in the first half of set number 2. They've got that 1-point advantage, and they'll have the advantage on the side out if they were to continue that one, right?
Yeah.
But they can keep keeping the pressure on Ratledge and Caldwell, especially from the end line.
Take advantage of your superior body fat percentage?
That's only if you were playing down there against Shavit. Diving save, but it goes over. And Field finds the sideline with that knuckle pokey past the block and down.
I always feel like that's Steinmetzger-esh.
He was the originator of that shot for sure. But those are the plays that Ratledge and Caldwell have to keep on their side of the net. The over dig, right, gives the advantage right back to Shavit and Field, and it looks like we might be seeing a sky ball. No, lefty spinner from the inline. Sneaky, sneaky, stepping into that pocket and digging it over on one. Changing it up a little bit is Tal Shavit.
Yeah, I love the control there. He's just kind of patient. He's stopped, he's balanced, sees the open court, and kind of midway through just shoves it to the other side. Excuse me.
I mean, I like that changeup from Tal Shavit, the serve. But again, from the left side of the court, going cross over to Colty Caldwell, and he just sides out easily.
Now, that's been a consistent winner for Caldwell, that shoot set to the pin that he just slaps high down the line.
Called just wide, barely missing the sideline, even from our vantage point, Rich. I thought that might have clipped it, but called out. Ratledge Caldwell pulled to within 1 after that hitting error. And that set is just way too tight for Tal Shavit to attack against the big Ed Ratledge block.
Yeah, I think Shavit might have gotten a little greedy on that one. The 50-50 ball is tough to sneak under the big paws of Ed Ratledge.
Watch his hands get over the net here on the replay. He has been making that block move for over 2 decades. But that time, Shavit attacks the elbows and gets it to go off of Ed's block and into the antenna, which is out of play.
Yeah, that's a good response to the delay timing of Ed there, I think. You know, he's just trying to go with that dart before Ed can get his hands up there. So it's a good little game of cat and mouse going on between Ratledge at the net and Shavit on the attack.
Can they turn it? Oh, the attack error goes into the net after Shavit and Field collide after that play through the net, but we'll make the 14 all side switch.
This is the critical juncture of this match, I would say, right here. Field and Shavit need a good effort here from the bad side. They can't let this get away from them right here. Because you know Caldwell's going to go after these serves from the south end.
Shavit showing some creativity as well up at the net, going over on 2.
Crafty little play.
So still clinging to that 1-point advantage now. Shavit will jump serve from the bad side and miss into the net. $15 all here in set number 2.
Getting a little cloud cover, a little marine layer, afternoon marine layer rolling in, Maddie.
Afternoon marine layer is very common here in the South Bay. Keeps the temperatures cool, a little bit of a breeze kicking up as well. The players appreciate that. Back to action as Ed Ratledge goes over to Field. Cody Caldwell hammering that ball in transition, gets the dig and then scores the point.
And nice bit of control on that dig too. He was kind of falling away from that, but still managed to keep it on his side right to his partner at Ratledge.
So advantage back to Ratledge Caldwell as we get a quick glance there at Cody Caldwell's jumping capabilities. Another dig now. And another point for Cody Caldwell and Ed Ratledge to make that 2 in a row late here in set number 2, Rich.
Yeah, another great dig from Caldwell and a great set to roll that thing up there. Big Ed Ratledge.
Cody Caldwell, 9 kills, 2 errors, hitting .412 through the match. 3 digs, Ratledge goes on 2 and scores. 3 straight points on the defensive efforts of Cody Caldwell, giving Ratledge and Caldwell now a 3-point lead at 18-15, and Shavit Field have to call their timeout. So as this second set has progressed here, it was 15 all just a few moments ago, and now we'll get a quick glance at the Wilson play of the day behind the defensive efforts of Cody Caldwell. 3 digs in a row. This one teeing it up perfectly for Ed Ratledge to go easily over on 2, and that's the Wilson play of the day.
As predicted, this was going to be the critical juncture of this match, huh? And Ratledge and Caldwell have really done a nice job to capitalize on their advantage. Starts with some tough serves and then some great defensive plays from Cody Caldwell.
Yeah, and defense right there, as you can see by the stats, 7 digs and 2 blocks. 3 of those digs coming in the last 3 points. Really putting some late set number 2 pressure on the qualifiers. Shavit and Field as Ed Ratledge will get us back to action now. Looking to close it out here. Ed Ratledge at the end line. And Field that time navigates that ball over the block and down in front of the diving Caldwell, and they get the side out.
That was impressive because it looked like he lost his footing momentarily there and still snuck it over Big Ed Ratledge.
So 1 back on the side out, but still down by 2 and 1 point away from the side switch. Good effort, but the ball doesn't go over. And that's 19-16 in favor of Ratledge Caldwell.
A good spear from Shavit in the backcourt, but was on field so quickly, couldn't quite traverse the net with it.
So Caldwell will serve from the right side of your screen. That'll be considered the bad side, and he's going to jump serve down the middle, taken by Field. Good swing by Frank Field there from off the net. He scores the point.
And a little extra stare down for your money. I like it. There is no diminishing of the fight in the team of Field and Shavit.
Let's see what Shavit does from the inline now. He's going to jump serve over to Ratledge. Side out will get them to match point. And Ed Ratledge with that patented sharp cross-court angle hit. A little help from the tape, but down, Rich.
Yeah, he just goes up there, and we've talked about his wingspan. It comes from such a high contact point that he can just slap all kinds of different angles.
So 20 serving 17. Match point opportunity number 1 for Ed Ratledge and Cody Caldwell. Blocked but covered. Another chance for Field here. Another block over on 1. Cody's there. Chance to win it. Tight overset, and he gets the block. Wait, we've got a net violation called against Cody Caldwell. So we'll play on.
Tried to do the walk-off celebration. Leave the arm up there with the Kong block, but net violation detected.
Look at him get up, and then, yeah, down there at the bottom, his right hip. So match point opportunity number 2 now. As Frank Field serves over to Caldwell down the middle. Good deflection, but Shavit can't get there. The ball will drop, and that will do it. 21-12, 21-18 in favor of Ed Ratledge and Cody Caldwell. The 16th seeded team will advance to the second round of the contender bracket, and they will send home Frank Field and Tal Shavit with a 29th place, but kudos to them, working hard to get out of the qualifier and make it to the main draw.
Yeah, and a nice effort from them, quite frankly, right? I mean, they played some great ball, particularly in the second set. They really kind of settled into their game, I think. We saw good variety from Shavit defensively and from the end line. Take a look at a couple of the highlights.
As expected, that was a pretty entertaining match. Even there through set number 2 at 15 points apiece until that late surge from Ratledge and Caldwell. Good effort and playing from Tal Shavit, Frank Field. Just not enough today, so their tournament is over. Ratledge and Caldwell survive and advance into the contenders bracket here in Manhattan Beach.
Yeah, and when Eddie the Eagle's finding digs in the backcourt, you know you're in for a long day.
We'll see if they go back to that strategy throughout this event. It worked for them in this match. I don't know if they advance too far. They might have to put that one back on the shelf and stick to what works as we get a glance at our final statistics. Rich, what stands out to you here?
Yeah, I tend to always fixate on the same things. Obviously, the disparity in hitting percentage, you know, 300 and some odd, 330 points, it looks like, is going to make it tough to hang with your opponents if there's that much discrepancy, but also the errors right above that, 10 errors to only 3 on the side of Caldwell and Ratledge. You can't give your opponents free points that way and expect to be in matches for long periods of time.
And look at that big number down at the bottom, 7,889 feet covered by Caldwell and Ratledge. That's a pretty efficient distance traveled through that match and saving some gas in the tank for their remaining matches. But that'll do it for us here at Manhattan Beach. For my co-host Rich Lamborn, my name is Matt Prosser. Thanks for joining us. Stay with us for more action after this.